Are we live? Hey, hey, financial besties. Hey, hey, besties. How you doing? How you been? Drop some money babies in the chat and let me know how you're doing. And if you're watching the replay, hey, girl, hey, come and replay gang so I'll know you were here too. Y'all know I love y'all. I love y'all so much. And if you're new to me, hey, girl, hey. My name is Malika. I'm a money coach and the founder of Fabulous Financials. I help Black women learn how to invest in the stock market with ease and confidence. Really quickly, my financial journey began as a single mom on welfare, but learning to invest changed my life, literally. I was able to build a portfolio that allowed me to retire early in my 40s. And now that I'm work optional, I slow travel the world at my leisure. So if you have made financial mistakes or you're feeling financially behind and you want to level up your finances, then I invite you to join my financial besties and subscribe to my channel. Turn on that notification bell while you're down there too. So you will be notified every time I upload a new video or go live. So welcome, welcome, welcome. In this video, I want to honor National Financial Literacy Month. In fact, all month, every week this month, all of my videos are going to be in honor of Financial Literacy Month. I've decided to do a series for women of each generation. We're going to do a video for women in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, and beyond. And I've decided to call it Millionaire Money Moves. And these money moves are either good financial decisions that I've made or in hindsight, because I've made a lot of mistakes too, in hindsight, financial decisions I wish I made due to the lessons learned, right? And collectively, by the end of the month, all of the videos will be kind of what you could call a playbook for financial independence because I hope it empowers women to take control of their finances. But tonight in this video, we're going to start with the essential money tips, the millionaire money moves, specifically for women in their 20s. So whether you're just starting out or you're already making some strides, these money tips will help you set a strong foundation for financial independence. And if my little cousins are watching, whether you're live or watching the replay, Lyric and Bri, just know I had you in mind. And this one is for you. I got you, baby girl. But I hope you all enjoy this series and you tune in for the future episodes of Millionaire Money Moves for women in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's topic, Millionaire Money Moves for Women in Their 20s, the series for Financial Literacy Month. So I have 5 things I want to share with you. There were so many that came to mind, especially when I thought about doing this video for my little cousins. I had so many that came to mind. And I said, if I tried to do a video on all of these things, we would be on forever. And I don't want to hold you forever. So I narrowed it down to the 5 most important things I want you to consider when you're making money moves in your 20s. And the very first thing I want you to consider is your student loan repayment. I know a lot of us rack up those student loans very early in life because we want to get that college degree. And that college degree, we hope, is going to help us to land a better job. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But either way, you're going to walk away from the university, hopefully with a degree in your hand, but you may have some student loans as well. And if you do, one of the things I want you to consider is the repayment plan that you choose. Think about the repayment plan that you are going to choose. The 2 most common repayment plan is either a fixed payment plan. The standard repayment plan is usually a 10-year fixed repayment plan. Um, the fixed repayment plan usually has a higher monthly payment. But the other repayment plan that I want you to consider when you're just starting out is the income based repayment plan. And the new repayment plan that the current administration established is called SAVE, SAVE. It's saving on a valuable education plan. I think that's what the SAVE stands for. And it's based on your income, and it should be no more than 10% of your discretionary income. So the lower your income, the less you'll pay each month. So consider your repayment plan for your student loans. And when you do, consider the income based SAVE repayment plan so that you are paying no more than 10% of your discretionary income. Because if you don't choose a repayment plan, it's going to default. Your service provider is going to default and put you on the standard repayment plan, which is the fixed monthly payment. And that monthly payment may be higher than the income-based repayment plan. Okay? Number two, when you are starting out in your career, I want you to be a sponge. I want you to be a sponge at work and focus on learning and building relationships. That's it. I want you to focus on learning and building relationships. Notice I didn't say focus on your income. I don't want that to be your primary focus starting out, because the more you learn, the more you earn. And I'm sure you've heard the saying, it's not about what you know, but who you know. So those relationships that you establish in the early part of your career, they can take you higher than anything that you can do on your own. So when you first start your job, I don't want you to feel like you have to chase the highest paying job, or I don't want you to show up on your first couple of days feeling like you got to prove yourself to somebody. Girl, when you are hired in an entry level position, you are being hired to learn. So take advantage of that time in your career. That's the easiest time in your career. That should be very low pressure because you're there to learn. They know you don't know anything. Yeah, you got a college degree, but that college degree didn't teach you anything about that job. To be perfectly honest, you probably won't use anything that you learned while you were in college. So spend the first few years of your career focus on what I call skill stacking. So when I was early on in my career, when I first graduated college, I started in an intern program. And the intern program, thankfully, was structured in a way so that I could focus on learning. But what I consider skill stacking is focusing on the different areas of whatever organization you choose to join, the different areas with different skill sets that you can develop over time, and try to get like an internship or rotation in those different areas. Stack your skills. And as you're stacking your skills, build relationships in all levels of the organization, the people above you and the people, well, when you first start now, there's no one below you, but the people that you think cannot do anything for your career, those people have probably been in those positions for 20 and 30 years and they know everybody. So be kind to everyone, build relationships with everyone that are all around you, because that will give you leverage when you start focusing on maximizing your income and competing for those higher paying jobs. When you build those relationships and stack those skills, your reputation will precede you. When I was working in my career, the reason why I was able to progress so quickly, well, beyond part of the intern program included some automatic promotions. But after the intern program, the reason why I was able to progress so quickly and get promotions so fast is because of my reputation. And there were people above me, sponsors and mentors, that were in those rooms that I weren't qualified to be in, but they spoke my name in those rooms where I hadn't earned a seat yet. So, those relationships and the skill stacking, those two things combined, that's what's going to lead you to maximizing your income. So focus on that first when you begin your career. Learn as much as you can and build those relationships above you, next to you, and below you. As you start progressing, continue nurturing those relationships all around you. All right. The third thing I want you to focus on is to avoid lifestyle creep. And lifestyle creep, just really quickly, is just when you start increasing your income, it is easy to want to buy a better car. Or when you get that first promotion, it is easy to have a desire to want to upgrade your apartment. You may be in a one-bedroom apartment. You want to upgrade to a two-bedroom. Even if you live alone, you want that second bedroom because you think you need an office or you think you need a guest room. All of those reasons where you think you need more space or because you've accumulated more stuff. Or you may want to buy a designer bag, or you may want to buy a better car because the car that your parents bought you when you were in college, you think you're too good for that now. I get it. I get it. If that car is no longer safe, sis, replace the car. I get it. But even if you replace the car, replace it with another used car, right? Avoid lifestyle creep. The reason why I want you to avoid lifestyle creep is because I don't want your increased income to be claimed by extra expenses. As you increase your income, I want you to use some of that extra money to start paying yourself first. And we'll get to that in a minute. But in order to have extra money, that discretionary income to pay yourself first, you have to avoid the lifestyle creep. And if you're not careful and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, your friend bought a bag, so you got to buy a bag. Your friend is going on this trip, so you got to go on this trip. You know, your work bestie got a promotion, and then you get the promotion. She bought a car, so you want to buy a car. When you try to do those things where you're keeping up with the Joneses, and as you get a promotion and as you earn more money, or even worse, if you start using credit cards, because you're not earning more money, but you're using credit cards to bridge the gap because you want to be able to keep up with appearances, that will be the biggest thief of your wealth building journey. Because the more debt you accumulate, the more other people will be able to lay claim on the income that you earn. You've earned this degree, you got student loan debt to pay off. Now you're starting this new job. Your salary might be very modest right now, but you're working your butt off trying to increase your income. You're doing all the things, you're building the relationships, you're stacking your skills, and you're working hard. But if you accumulate debt, all of your hard work from earning that degree to the 40 plus hours you may put in on your job, the money is going to someone else because you have to pay back your credit card debt. You don't have any discretionary income to pay yourself. That's what happens when you experience that lifestyle creep and you accumulate credit card debt to bridge the gap because you're buying things to keep up with appearances. You don't have to keep up with appearances. You can keep driving that car that mom and dad bought you, unless it's not safe. So there are exceptions, right? You can move out of your parents' house if you want to, but consider getting a roommate for a little while. You don't want to increase your expenses so quickly or so much where the harder you work, it never seems like you have anything to show for because you're also increasing your expenses at the same time. So, one way to avoid that is by resisting the urge to keep up with the Joneses and resisting the urge of lifestyle creep. Okay. So, if you can do that, you would be miles and miles ahead of your peers. I promise you. If there's anyone in the comments that have any thoughts on these first three things I shared, the student loan repayment, how to approach your career when you're first starting out entry level, and your thoughts about lifestyle creep and accumulating credit card debt, leave a comment. Most of my community are well past this age, but I wanted to start the series for women in their 20s because this is usually when we make the mistakes. And then when we get to our age, we're paying for those mistakes. So if I can help any woman before those mistakes are made, I'm happy. My job is done, even if I only help one person. And if this is helpful to you, leave a comment and let me know. And hit the like button as well. But if you are one of my financial besties and we're around the same age, you've been there, done that, leave a comment to let me know what you think about the first three money moves I'm sharing with our 20-year-old baby sisters. All right. The fourth thing I want you to consider. Now, this one might ruffle a few feathers, and that's okay because even women my age are still making this mistake. But if I can catch you in your 20s, I'm hoping that you will be able to avoid the mistake or at least look at things a little differently so that you're not digging yourself into a deep hole. But this fourth one is don't be fooled by the American dream. And what I mean by that is you may have heard people say it's better to own than to rent because a home is an investment and the payment will never increase. You get to do what you want in your house and it's yours and you never ever have to move because you don't have to worry about a landlord telling you what you can and cannot do. And the American dream is marketed to you as like the ultimate level of success. Well, because I'm your financial bestie, I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you buy a home and it is your primary residence and you do not rent any part of it out to generate income, it's not an investment. It's simply a place to live. That's it. It's not an investment. And furthermore, the meaning of an investment is when you put money in, it gives you a rate of return. Your primary residence is a liability. Your primary residence is a liability because the first few years when you're making payments on that house is going towards interest. You're paying the bank. Very little of it goes towards reducing the principal and building equity. Very little of it goes towards reducing the principal. In the first few years that you're making a payment on that house, you're paying the bank. It's a liability. The second thing I want to make you aware of, and this is something that I was not aware of when I was in my 20s. So I hope that this information is helpful to you, but it's a statement that I hear all the time. It's better to own than to rent because your mortgage will never go up. I get tired of my landlord increasing the rent every year. Well, guess what? If you buy a house, unless you're paying for it in cash, if you take out a mortgage, the monthly payment can change, even when you take out a mortgage. Because when you're making the monthly payment, you're paying several things. You're paying the principal on the loan. You're also paying insurance, homeowner's insurance. If something were to happen to the home, you have to file a claim and your insurance company will take care of it, right? So you have to pay a premium on that homeowner's insurance. You also have to pay property taxes. The county that you own the home in will assess the value of that home and determine how much your taxes will be. And this may or may not be applicable, but some people also pay an HOA fee. My most painful first property experience was as a result of the HOA fee. So I remember this so vividly. Those four things. And I'm not even going to mention PMI. That depends on your down payment and all, and the type of loan you have and all that kind of stuff. But regardless of the type of loan that you have, at least those three things you're going to be paying for: principal, your interest, the principal and the interest, right? You're going to be paying homeowner's insurance, and you're going to be paying property taxes. And depending on where you buy the home, you may or may not also have an HOA fee. Well, guess what? The only thing that doesn't change if you have a fixed rate mortgage is the payment on the principal. But the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance, and the HOA fee, all of those are subject to change. So when you close on that home and you get your little form that shows the breakdown of everything that you owe and that shows what the monthly payment is going to be, all of that is reassessed every year. And when you're making that monthly payment, part of it goes to the bank and part of it goes in an escrow account to pay your taxes and your insurance, right? But as the county reassesses your taxes, as the insurance company reassesses your premium, and they determine that your rate is going to go up, the money that you have in escrow, that's not going to be enough. So what happens? Your monthly mortgage payment goes up to make up the difference. So sis, yes, even when you own a home, your monthly mortgage payment can go up. So the next time you hear someone say that, or if you hear someone say that, tell them that's not true. That's not true. So imagine you paying a monthly mortgage payment, thinking that your mortgage is not going to go up. And then in year 2, it goes up. And then when you look at the first few years of you paying your mortgage, your balance hasn't gone down very much because the majority of your payments is going towards the interest. And then as a homeowner, you're responsible for all of the maintenance and the repairs, not the landlord. I share all of this to make sure you understand the reality of homeownership. The American dream that they sell you, it's a scam. It's a scam. So if you choose to buy a home because you want a home, that's okay. But don't buy a home as a result of societal pressure or because you want to fulfill this fake dream, because the dream ain't real. And all the things, all the marketing that they do to sell you this dream, it makes you want to own a home by any means necessary. And you end up getting way more mortgage than you can afford. So if you choose to buy a home because that's truly what you want to do, not because you feel like that's what you have to do in order to prove that you've made it or in order to prove that you're successful now. If you truly want to own a home, because that's what you desire, a few things that I would suggest is to buy a modest home. Your very first home does not have to be your dream home. I'm going to say that again. Your very first home does not have to be your dream home. So if you choose to buy a home, buy a modest home. The second thing I want you to make sure you do is make sure your mortgage payment is less than 30% of your net income. When the mortgage broker is doing the pre approval, they will do it most likely based on your gross income. Don't let the bank tell you how much you can afford. They will approve you for way more than what you really can afford. And the reason why I'm saying 30% of your net income is because net is what you bring home. Your gross is a phantom income. So if you're making financial decisions based on your gross income, that includes money that you will never see because Uncle Sam is going to take his cut off the top. That's not an accurate assessment of what you can truly afford because you'll never see your gross income. So you run the numbers and make sure the monthly payment is less than 30% of your net income. And I say 30% because you're going to have so many other expenses. And if you stretch that number wider, if you stretch that number where a significant portion of your income is required in order to afford your mortgage payment, you're not going to be able to do anything else. You won't be able to afford to go on any trips with your friends. You won't be able to afford to buy that new car. So by limiting your mortgage payment, it leaves that wiggle room so you can afford the other things you may want to do in life. Another thing I want you to consider when you buy a home with the intention of generating income. So whether you rent an extra room out, or if you got a basement, you got a finished basement, you want to rent the basement out, or if you buy a duplex, you live on one side and you rent out the other side, buy a home with the intent of generating some income. So your tenants will help you pay that mortgage. Then that home becomes an investment, right? But I don't want you to get so caught up in the American dream that you end up house rich and cash poor. Okay? Any financial besties in the comments want to add any thoughts about the American dream? I know some of us were caught up in it too, but if I can help my young sisters out in their 20s, I would really, really love to. Because I think that is one of the biggest mistakes that we make. And it's one of the largest purchases that we will ever make in our lives. So if we make a mistake with the largest purchase that we will ever make in our lives, imagine how much wealth that is taken away from your future. That's a big, big mistake that I made and a big setback that it caused. All right. So I hope that helps. The fifth and the last thing I want you to consider is to start investing. Start investing early in your 20s. Yes, yes. In your 20s, the earlier you start investing, the more your money will start making money for you and the less you'll have to invest later on in your life. So in your 20s, some of the options that you may have available to you that are easily accessible is your 401k. So if you work for an employer that offers a 401k, the type of investments that I would recommend for you as a woman in her 20s is to invest in your 401k and invest at least up to the match. So if your employer will match, let's say 5%, that's usually the standard. If your employer will match 5% or 6%, you contribute 5% or 6%. Get that employer match, that's an automatic 100% return on your investment. You can't go wrong with that. So if you have access to a 401k, contribute to your 401k at least enough to get the company match. Now, I know not everyone has access to a 401k. There are some employers that don't offer it. If that is you, an alternative to a 401k is investing in a Roth IRA. Investing in a Roth IRA. And these are both retirement accounts. So they are money that you're investing in the market long term that you will be able to access when you're 59 and a half. So when you start investing in your 20s and that money compounds and it start making money babies for decades, can you imagine what that money is going to do for you? If you can't imagine, that's okay, because I ran the numbers for you. I don't know if I can share this calculator on the live stream. But I will try. Let's see. I will try. Share screen. Okay. Here we go. All right. So if you invest in a Roth IRA for 2024, the maximum amount that you can put into a Roth IRA is $7,000 for the year. In order to be eligible for a Roth IRA, you have to have earned income. So I'm assuming in your 20s, you're starting your career, you have earned income. In fact, if anybody's watching this and you're not in your 20s, if you are a teenager, if you work a part-time job, you have earned income, you can invest in a Roth IRA. But anyway, the maximum that you can contribute in a Roth IRA for 2024 is $7,000. The maximum changes every year. It usually increases a little bit every year, but for 2024, it's $7,000, right? So breaking that down into how much you can contribute every pay period. So assuming you get paid bi-weekly, that's $269 per pay period, right? $269 per period. No, in fact, let's break that down by month, just to make the calculation easier. So 7,000 divided by 12 is $583 a month. So $269 pay period, $583 a month, right? So what I've done here in the calculator. So let's say, while you are in college, working your part-time job, you've put a little bit in the Roth IRA already. So let's say you start with an initial investment of $1,000, all right? And let's say you put in $580 per month. That's $269 per pay period. So that's the number I have here. And the length of time, we're going to put in 35 years, because if you're in your 20s and you're not able to access your Roth IRA, tax-free and penalty-free. Did I mention that? I'm suggesting a Roth IRA because you can invest. You can invest your money and it will grow over time tax-free. And when you turn age 59 and a half, you can withdraw that money tax-free, right? So I'm putting 35 in the length of time in years, because if you're in your 20s, starting your career, let's say you're 25. So by the time you're 60, you have about 35 years, right? I'm putting in 10% for the estimated interest rate. The stock market has been around for over 100 years. On average, the stock market returns about 8 to 10% a year. So for the rate of return, I'm putting in 10%. And I'm also including a 2% variance. And that 2% variance is to account for the 8% if it's less, or up to 12% if it's more. Okay? Now we are going to see what starting with $1,000 invested and contributing $269 per pay period. So you're investing a total of $7,000 for the year. You can break it up in pay periods if you want to. If you get a tax refund check, you can invest it all at once if you want to. If you get money from someone else as a gift, you can invest that if you want to. But I'm just using the monthly payment here. Over 35 years, earning 10% per year. Let's recalculate that. Do you see how much you will have by the time you are ready to retire? If you cannot see that, if the screen is too small, that says $1,914,432. $1,914,432. That is what you will have if you invest in the stock market in a Roth IRA and you invest consistently every pay period. By the time you're 59 and a half, you will be basically a multimillionaire. Right? And the only way you will be able to invest in your Roth IRA, that's what I call the paying yourself first, is if you avoid that lifestyle creep. If you avoid that credit card debt. If you avoid the urge to buy more house than you can afford because you're caught up in the euphoria, the excitement of the American dream, which I've already explained to you why that's a scam. And then also building the foundation to maximize your income by skill stacking and building relationships. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that like button. If this was helpful to you, share it with other women that you know that are in their 20s. Some of this information may help some women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s too. But share it with all your friends. Share it with your nieces. Share it with your daughter. If you're not in your 20s, share it with someone you know who is in their 20s who could benefit from this information. I don't see any questions in the chat. I didn't expect any. Most of my community are well past their 20s, but I wanted to start this series with a little something for our sisters in their 20s. Until next time, bye for now.